So as you can see, we've got the food in categories, and this is very low. So that's quite unusual. So what I'll do today is I'll get a photo of these shelves. My name's Julie Webster and I'm the coordinator of Greater Maryhill Foodbank. It's myself and my colleague Jim Hamilton from Maryhill Parish Church who came up with the idea, and it was the result of a gentleman in the Maryhill area who had been arrested for shoplifting, and he was 82, and when I heard about that I was really quite distressed to think that somebody 82 in my community was hungry. I suppose my perception when I first started the food bank would be that I would only provide a service to people living chaotic lifestyles, drug and alcohol addicted people, asylum seeker refugees, possibly homeless people, and it's very different from that. People like me and you, working class, people who are living on ridiculous amounts of low income. Mark was like an angel for me. Probably remember Mark for the rest of my life. He's been one of the most vivid memories of the food bank for me. He just phoned me and he says, "Hi, I'm Mark and I want to help get some money for you." And I said, "Oh, I always like to hear that conversation." And he explained who he was. He said he was the indie cyclist and he'd been following me on Twitter, and what he did say to me is, "Julie, I can't promise you anything, but I promise you I'll do my best." And I said, "That's amazing. £200 for us would be amazing." And like, he was really tearful and all that, and he was like, "Oh Julie, it's just amazing in here, I can't believe it." And the other guys that were with him, they were quite emotional as well, and then when they started asking me questions about experiences I've had, and I told them about the lady with the beans, they were just blown away with that. That's what Mark's involvement's been. He's just been like an absolute angel for me in times of despair. You do feel despair in here sometimes, and he just comes like a ray of sunshine and makes it so much easier to do what I do. The story of the beans was the end of May, the bank holiday weekend, and I was just about to lock up, and I got a phone call from one of the partners to refer a family, and it was a lady in poor health with her 2 teenage children, and they hadn't eaten since Friday, and this was Tuesday, and could I give them a food parcel? And I says, absolutely, send them up. And they came up and they were hovering about the door, and I says, "Come on in, it's okay," and I brought them in. And the girl was very, very thin, very malnutritioned, and the woman looked in very poor health. And I took the young girl over and I showed her the categories here, and I said, "If you do this side, I'll help your mum with the other side." And as I turned round, I could see her looking at the beans, and I was wondering, she was picking them up, putting them down, and I was wondering what she was doing. And then when I turned back round again, she had took the ring pull off and she was eating the beans with her fingers. And I was just absolutely gobsmacked. I couldn't believe what I was saying. And I'm quite strong, I have to be strong, but I had to go to the toilet. I was nearly in tears. I said, "Don't ever be hungry again. There's my mobile number. If you ever need food, even at the weekend, phone me, I'll come and give you food." And she says, "Thank you so much." And she's never been back. And I met her in Tesco a few weeks later, and she went, "Julie, I've got everything sorted now. My benefits are fixed out, and I'm getting my life back on track, and it's all thanks to you believing in me and taking me off the ground when I was in the gutter." And you know, that for me will live with me for the rest of my life. I'll never forget it. Probably the most emotive thing I've had to do in 20 years in my job is see people that have to come in that door in the 21st century in one of the richest countries in the world and ask us for food. And people say to me, "How do you know they deserve it?" If they walk through that door and they've got the guts to walk through there, which is probably the most demoralising thing you have to do in your life, I'm giving them food for even having the guts to do it. To come through that door and face all these people. And I'll never turn anyone away for food, regardless of what their situation is. So this is our nappy section. Nappies are a big thing in the food bank for people because they're very expensive. Couldn't believe how more expensive they were 6 years ago for when I had my son. And you know, a packet of nappies is about £10, so that's quite a lot. So we had a really lovely gentleman off of Twitter who basically came with a huge donation of nappies, which is basically up, that's what we've left. And this is what he's given, which has been amazing. It's really saved us a lot of money, and I'm actually going to give him a wee message to see if he's got any more for us. He also brought along baby products, for example, a disposable bibs and nappy cream. These are all things that if you can give these in the food bank, it gives them an extra £5 or a tenner for electricity. So that was a really kind donation. That man came from far away to deliver that, and it was boxes full of nappies. So lots of babies have had clean bottoms in Greater Maryhill thanks to that lovely gentleman. The money will help to benefit so many families in Greater Maryhill, and I know that the families would agree with me in saying that without Mark there'd be many families in Glasgow because we feed families from wider Glasgow as well that would go hungry without that money. So I'm hoping that a good majority of it will be able to fill these shelves and make sure that I'm not sitting panicking, worrying if I'm going to have enough food for distribution. Organisations like this shouldn't be here. I never thought in a million years I would see a food bank in the 21st century in Scotland. A journalist once asked me, do you like running a food bank? I went, oh, I love it. I love seeing deprived people. Obviously I don't enjoy it. I do it because there's a need for a service in this community. I do it because I'm scared that if I don't do it, these people are going to be left destitute. That's why I do it. I do it because I hope that if I'm on the deck at some point, I hope someone's going to put their hand out to me and help me up off the ground and give me a wee bit of encouragement. People that are vulnerable don't need to be judged and belittled. They need to be supported and advised. That's what they need. And if they don't get that, they become very secluded for the rest of the society. And that's when these people, become a threat to us, when they're not supported and advised, when they're scrutinised and belittled. That shouldn't be happening. I'm sick and tired of seeing frontline services cut within my community. I'm fed up seeing people sanctioned for being late for an appointment. The most vulnerable in these communities are the ones that are really, really being affected by the frontline cuts. We're not seeing middle class people getting services cut, we're seeing frontline services cut, which is affecting these vulnerable people, and I'm afraid to say that I can see it getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and I don't know what stage we need to get to before we realise that this is not working. And it is about the government hanging its head in shame for bringing this city to its knees. And that's all I have to say, and I just hope that the future that we've got for the next generation is going to be brighter than the future I've had to struggle through.